And I would say exactly that. Like, you don't know why that person is rushing. Could be they're late to work, whatever the case may be. You talked about, racing to get to the hospital. I think about when she gave birth, right? We just need to get to the hospital.
Right.
Like, there's so many things that could ideally happen to somebody's life. You got a call, a devastating call that that's just, you got to get there. And she always says, You're just always too kind." I'm the person that likes to help people. If something's going on, altercation at a Walmart or a Publix, and I get involved, she's like, "Can you stop that? Like, you don't know what's going to happen." It's just us, right? And I think it is the seeds that were planted in us to allow us to see very
Yeah.
differently. And it allows me to live more peaceful because why would I rile myself up on something I can't control? I can control me.
That's right.
I can control my vehicle. So, hey, I'm going to back away from this guy, let this guy go as fast as he can ahead of us. We'll just stay here. So definitely, I love the way that you're thinking. And that also goes back to your leadership skills, having that. And you talked about building leaders as well, on your good leadership to see their potential sometimes before they do, which is huge. I think that happened to me. I was a 19-year-old general manager for Subway. And I thank God that someone seen my leadership skills before I seen it. I didn't know that I was going to be a general manager for a sub shop,
Right.
And I did that for 8 years. But someone seen something in me, and now you're doing that same thing. What's that one tool or maybe conversation you use to kind of activate that for others?
I one tool. How can I name a couple? Because it sort of starts
Sure,
with
sure, yeah.
it's.
Name
It's.
a couple.
I feel like it's well. It's finding something that they're doing and recognizing it, even if it seems small or even if it seems like
Yeah.
kind of insignificant. When you notice something that somebody did and they went out of their way, say, I noticed
Mhm.
that you did that and that was really cool. Or after after like you observe them, let's say giving feedback, say that must have been really hard, you did a wonderful job. Just like words of encouragement and kind of opening up that relationship. I think that's very important. I'm built on relationships. The company we operate, we're very relationship built. So that can be extremely helpful. But getting to know people, saying, what are your hopes, dreams, goals, aspirations? But it's also remembering that not everybody is, where they are. Let me backtrack. You have to meet people where they are within reason, because some people are very, very content, just being, who they are. And if you're giving them other ideas and suggestions and they're really resistant to it, maybe it's not because they're lazy or because whatever, you're that, oh, that what that judgmental side of your brain might be thinking. Maybe
Yeah.
they don't want to excel, they don't want to move up. My son Kevin Jr. he's about to turn 21 this weekend, but he is brilliant. He's that kid that doesn't have to study. He never had to study. He took his SATs, didn't sleep the night before, walked in without a calculator and got like a 1370. Just doing it,
Kudos to him.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
So me was like, oh, so you're going to become a surgeon? Like that's just like where, what I thought. Well, what else do you do with that kind of brain? You go all the way and you become a surgeon, right? Well, guess
Yeah.
what? That is not what he sees for his future. He is not. I don't even know if he's going to go beyond his bachelor's. So, which is fine for him, but that's not exactly easy, for me to kind
Yeah.
of meet him where he is. But it's not just for him; it's for everybody. Like I just see, that sky's the limit, thinking that we have here. I see that for everybody.
I love how similar we are because it bothers me when I see potential in someone and they don't see it in
Yeah.
themselves. And I tell you what happened to me, and I had to learn this, I would say the hard way. So I knew this guy in real estate, a huge guy, for what he does, really top seller year after year after year. And he let me use his box truck all the time. So, great. And then I had a partner at the time, which was my brother-in-law, and I seen so much good in my brother-in-law. Sometimes he just wasn't doing the things he should have been doing. So I remember it got to the point where we just stopped working with each other. It blew up. And I went back to this real estate guy and I tell him the situation and how mad I was. And he says, "I got a question for you." And I'm like, "Yeah." He says, "Did he ask for your help?" And I'm like, "No, he didn't ask me." And he's like, "Okay, well, you're the dummy because you're the one that continued to help him even after he didn't ask." And I'm like, "I guess you're right." And it is true.
Got a
You
point.
can't get mad when you're trying to help somebody and they don't want to be
Mhm.
helped. I miss it. Where do you put developing people on your list of things that you love to do. I actually love to do it. Sometimes I felt like I was actually babysitting adults, but there was times where I really love to see how I was able to develop somebody to be their own general manager. And even now, 10 years later, have this conversation on, hey man, thank you so much for seeing something in me. Where do you rank that on the things that you love to do at your organization?
Definitely at the top. I do, again, love people. I'm drawn to them. I want to know about them. So I'm kind of naturally like sort of able to talk to them about what their, aspirations are, and how can they get it. And when they pose some barriers to that, saying, well, what about this? What about this? And just trying to do that in a respectful way. They're because maybe they didn't have anyone to say that to them. Maybe no one has ever said that or recognized that in them, and they kind of walk away feeling, oh, maybe I can do something, a little bit different.
Yeah. Let's talk about the family that you guys serve. You say families with autism often feel boxed in. What did you see in your region that compelled you to actually build community hubs instead of just clinical programs?
So, New Jersey has a very high rate of autism, and we recognize that and we honor that. So, we need to work really hard to make sure that everybody has access to the services that they need. There are a lot of other ABA agencies, popping up in the area, and again,
Yeah.
we are not a very competitive company, because really if we're all here to serve the client, then the more the merrier. As long as other providers are doing the right thing and doing right by the families, we welcome them. We even want to work
Yeah.
alongside of them, with our networking group that we started. So, but it's really looking at the families as a whole, and it's not just the client, and it's the parents, it's the siblings, and we try very, very hard to work with them. And again, pulling on the empathy to see it from their perspective. When we're working with families who, let's say they have an idea for a goal, which could be having game night, Friday night game night. That's what they want for their family. But we're saying, but maybe us from like a clinical perspective is like, oh, you know what? I really think you should work on more communication, or putting, making, teaching them how to say sentences, full sentences, instead of just like a few words. But it's seeing the families where they are, and that game night is super important to them, and it's going to lead to so many more positive things than maybe if we just taught them how to say, increase their communication, or from communicating their wants and needs to like full sentences.